Thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, and a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and this is our 30th episode, which means we're going to try some pretty disgusting foods. So we're going to be talking about the foods of the new Scooby-Doo movies. And before we begin, I'll have everybody introduce themselves. Wendy, we'll start with you.
Hi guys, I'm Wendy BRYDGE. I'm a commissioned artist. I've been collecting Scooby-Doo my entire life, and I just want to make it known that I am here under duress. Nikki is forcing me to do this. Send help, please. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. We are going to eat some disgusting food, but I'm always happy to be here.
Devin.
I too am only slightly happy to be here today. But yeah, no, I'm Devin Smith. I am a miniature artist. So basically I take everyday and also not so everyday things and make them really small. And I'm also a lifelong Scooby-Doo fan.
And Leah.
I'm Leah. I run the Instagram page, My Scooby Space. I don't have any artistic talent. Somehow I fell into the Instagram community with Scooby-Doo, but I have loved Scooby-Doo as long as I can remember. And at some point, my little, what I was called my Scooby Shrine by my family turned into a really big collection. And I just love making my collection bigger and sharing it with y'all. So that's me.
I'm excited that you guys are here. This is going to be a lot of fun and slightly gross. So the first thing that I wanted to bring up is the Scooby Snacks, or lack of Scooby Snacks in these episodes. So a total of 10 Scooby Snacks were eaten by Scooby in the entire series. 3 in the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair, 3 in the Spooky Fog, 1 in the Caped Crusader Caper, and 3 in the Mystery in Persia. And that's it.
Interesting.
There were some references of Scooby Snacks. Scooby did miss a Scooby snack in Wednesday is Missing. Shaggy went to throw it to him, and the moose head behind him ate it. And then Daphne offered Scooby 30 Scooby Snacks if he could climb the cave wall in the Spooky Fog. And after he did it, he never got those Scooby Snacks. Yeah.
Daphne, come on.
Shaggy was holding 5 Scooby Snacks in his hand in the Ghostly Creep from the Deep. Velma found 8 Scooby Snacks on the ground by a trap door that Scooby and Shaggy had fallen into. And then Shaggy left a trail of Scooby Snacks. He was throwing them off the boat, and I counted 16 that he threw off the side of the boat, but there seemed to be more in the water.
Okay.
And then in the Exterminator, Scooby called a bone a Scooby Snack, and then Velma was holding a Scooby Snack, but she never gave it to him. And the only mention of the Shaggy snack was in the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair. Shaggy said that he wanted Shaggy Snacks, but there was nothing else about Shaggy Snacks in the rest of the episodes. So there was a big lack of Scooby Snacks, and I was very shocked that there weren't more, that Scooby wasn't given more Scooby Snacks. And they were shaped different. At one point they were square, at other points they were round. So there wasn't much consistency with that either. So what are your thoughts on the Scooby Snacks, or lack of Scooby Snacks, in the episodes? Wendy?
Yeah, that's strange. I feel like that's not something that I would have noticed on my own. Probably because we've seen all of the incarnations of Scooby over the years and we're very familiar with them. And the Scooby Snacks do play such a big role in literally every other series that I feel like my brain just has glazed over this, because I didn't watch the entire series leading up to this, but I did watch probably like 10 episodes of it, and like what you just said shocked me. I was like, wow, it didn't really click with me that, yeah, there wasn't really a lot of Scooby snack eating and things like that. I find it really interesting, and again, we can only talk about this because we've seen what comes after. So this was like the second Scooby series to come out.
Mhm.
So we know that they do go back to having a lot more Scooby snacks in the episodes. And I just kind of find this series interesting overall because I feel like they really tried a lot of different things in it that clearly must not have worked, because when they went to the Scooby-Doo show, they went back to like what they were doing in the original. Now, yeah, it's not exactly the same, but like almost 10 years had gone by as well. So things are going to be different. But I feel like, you know, trying the longer format, like the hour-long episodes, didn't really work. That was something that I really noticed in this series rewatching it, was that like, wow, this doesn't need to be more than 20 minutes long. They're dragging it out. Like, I'm enjoying it all right, but it's a lot of filler that I didn't think was necessary in like pretty much every episode. I'm not sure that any of them that I watched couldn't have benefited from being like edited down quite a bit. But yeah, that is really strange, especially given that I guess the one that's coming to mind really is A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, where they take the Scooby snack to the extreme, where I feel like it plays an even bigger role than in the original series. But now that you brought it up, something that I note, and I'm thinking about previous panels that we've done where we've kind of talked about like the dynamic between the characters and things. The other thing I noticed about this series rewatching it was I really didn't care for some of the interactions between the characters. Like Nikki and I were talking about one particular episode where like Fred makes kind of a pretty off-color joke about women. Now,
I know which one you're talking about. Yes, it's terrible.
It doesn't bother me, and I laughed, but I didn't really think about the fact that like, yeah, this is Scooby-Doo, and coming from Where Are You into what they did in this series, and I was like, wow, they tried to make it edgy. You know what I mean? And I feel like it just didn't work because it's not Scooby. It's just the whole dynamic was different. And part of the charm of Scooby is usually that he's scared. You bribe him with a Scooby snack and he's brave and he goes and does the thing. And so that didn't really happen here because there's no Scooby snacks hardly at all. Like, they're just going through the motions and they're doing the things, but we're missing that like kind of essential part of like, well, but he needs a little bit of help. And instead, like, I felt like a couple of times like they were kind of being like a little bit mean to each other. Like a little bit of backbiting, a little bit of like, oh, stop being such a scaredy cat, you know? And I mean, it's not like that never happened in the other series, but it was so small that the number of times that they did that. And in this series, like, I really did wonder if they tried to make them older than what they were in Where Are You? Like, to make them like literally a little bit more adult so that they could do stuff like that, thinking that maybe, even though I know there was only like 2 or 3 years between, or even, was there even that? Not even that, between when Where Are You ended and when this started, like 2 years. Maybe they were thinking like, okay, if the Scooby fans that were watching Where Are You were like, let's give it a broad range of like 8 to 12. Well, now they're more like 14-year-olds, 14 and 15. So maybe they were trying to like maintain the same viewership, like that base of people at a certain age. And so they were trying to like update it to keep in line with those people that were watching Where Are You? And again, it just didn't work, because I mean, hey, I'm 35. I want Scooby the way that he was in the beginning. I don't need it. I really don't need like a 35-year-old Daphne going through her closet, or like decrepit old grandpa Scooby hobbling down the stairs for a Scooby snack and falling on his face because his leg breaks because he's got osteoporosis. Like, I don't need it. You know, it's not necessary. I'm good. I'm good with like kids Scooby-Doo. It's perfect. Don't mess around with it. So yeah, that I do feel like now that you've brought it up, it kind of makes clear a lot of why this is my least favorite Scooby series, apart from the more modern stuff, because I don't look at it as Scooby. Like I Mystery Inc. it was a good series and everything, but I look at it like as it's outside of the Scooby canon, and then I can enjoy it. If I try to make it part of like the canon of what I know, I don't like it at all. So I just keep them separate. But as far as like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo and previous to that, classic Scooby, this really is my least favorite. And I do think, surprisingly enough, that the lack of the Scooby Snacks changed the dynamic, and it just kind of snowballed with all these other things to make it like, this really didn't work. And when they finally moved on to the next series, they're like, maybe we better go back to what we know and what the people love, because this was maybe not the way we should have gone with it.
Devin, what are your thoughts on the Scooby Snacks in the episodes?
Well, Wendy kind of brings up a good point there with them updating the show and making it edgier, what have you. I'm curious if a reason for the lack of like Scooby Snacks and maybe other things, we're talking about food today and you were counting the food throughout the episodes. I'm curious if other tropes like Velma losing her glasses and, like the corridors type gags where they're running in the hallways and like other things like that. I'm wondering if that got lost somewhere along the way too. I'd have to like actually rewatch everything and pay attention and count how much it actually happens. But when you're thinking of the show as a whole, as like all the series, it all kind of blends together. So you're like, oh, so they eat Scooby Snacks. Obviously, that's like a normal thing. But like only, what'd you say, 11 of them were in this whole series? Like
there were 10 at Scooby 8. Yeah.
Okay, that seems kind of crazy. And I'm wondering if part of that is because they brought in all these guest, characters and things. I'm wondering if something kind of got lost along the way with bringing in like a lot of them are like comedians or comedic actors or shows that are like, funny, obviously that goes along with Scooby-Doo. It's a funny show. And I'm wondering if they focus more on the like trying to make jokes and on the comedy rather than the actual like tropes of the show, I guess. They were just trying to make it more slapsticky and funny and trying to like throw as much as they could at the wall without paying attention to like the original things that they had in mind for the show, you know what I mean? So maybe that's why the Scooby Snacks got lost along the way, is just because they weren't focused on them.
Makes sense, considering some of the horrible jokes in that show.
Yes.
Yeah, long episodes.
Yeah. Leah, what are your thoughts on the Scooby Snacks?
I think a big part of it is the fact that we're all younger viewers, so we've grown up seeing like Scooby-Doo as a whole. But when this was first coming out, like y'all said, it was just the first 2 seasons of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? So Scooby Snacks, I mean, they were a part of the established canon, but they weren't iconic like they are today. So like, of course, going back now, we're like, where are the Scooby Snacks? They're missing. But I wonder if kids even noticed they were missing at all back then, just because they weren't iconic quite yet. You know what I mean? The show was newer. They were able to experiment a little more. And like y'all said, some of those experiments, I watched through this series, I want to say a year or 2 ago. I was trying to watch through all of Scooby-Doo in order. And this series was like, I was like making snarky comments the whole time. I'm like, what the heck is this person doing on the show? Like, why? Like, I didn't see this. Like, but I think it's just because they were experimenting. And I think the other thing too is sometimes like we think it's there more than it actually is. Like I know with like the musical chase scenes, for example, like in Where Are You? Like it feels like it's every episode if you just think about it. But when you go actually watch and you see how few musical chase scenes are, it's like, that's not right. Like something's missing. Like, and most of them are in season 2, I think, for the second, for Where Are You? If I'm remembering correctly. And it's just really weird. It's like, I thought they always had that. I guess when you grow up on it, it kind of just all blends together. Like you were saying, Wendy, you wouldn't have even noticed if Nikki didn't go count how many times, because we're just like, oh, well, Scooby-Doo, Scooby Snacks. It kind of just all blends together, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there were some more adult themes with the food in the new Scooby-Doo movies. So in The Secret of Shark Island, there were wine and rum bottles. In The Ghost of Bigfoot, Shaggy says that him and Scooby need a sandwich sedative. And in Guess Who's Not Coming to Dinner, Velma says that the food may be poisoned. So there were some more, things that you would think that they wouldn't put in a kid's show.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of odd that there would be any reference to any type of, sedative or alcohol. That seemed really odd to me. But Devin, what are your thoughts on that?
That's kind of interesting. I feel like it kind of goes to what I said before about the Scooby Snacks situation with them bringing the guest characters onto the show and things. Those are all not all of them are necessarily for kids. You know what I mean? So I feel like it makes sense to kind of put adult-ish jokes in with these some adult, characters and guests on the show. So I feel like maybe that's kind of why they did that, is just that reason. And also padding it out for 40 whatever minutes, each episode, instead of your regular 20 minutes or whatever. You got to have more jokes, so whatever they can get, I think they'll take.
Leah, what about you?
I was I had a thought and then it went away. But yeah, I think definitely, like you said, the adult themes kind of persist throughout the whole show in general. It's not just the food per se. It's like you mentioned the joke about where Fred makes, I think it's a joke oh, this desert reminds me of a woman, because it goes on and on and on, something like that. It's just
That's it.
it's just a bunch of more adult humor. But the other thing too is I think they were a little more lax with cartoons back then, because if you look, and this is many years before, but I've seen online, there's a Flintstones ad, and it's an ad for cigarettes, and Fred and Barney are smoking cigarettes, and I'm what is this? Nowadays, that would be taken off TV. It would be a huge thing. So compared to that, having a couple wine bottles in the background, it's actually pretty progressive. At least they're not showing him smoking. But I guess it's one of those different time. And then, like you said, they were, I think, trying to capture the kids' attention, but they're also trying to capture the adults' attention. And maybe that's why this one just doesn't land as well, because their audience is a little too broad.
There was one episode, the episode with Phyllis Diller, where she was smoking in the episode.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. But at least you don't see the teenagers smoke. That would have been really
God.
Yeah. Wendy, what are your thoughts on the adult themes?
Yeah, everybody makes a really good point here. And something else I hadn't really considered, because obviously I did watch this series when I was a kid, but I feel like it was when I was an older kid. So primarily when I was, it's a really broad range, but it is accurate. Let's say 6 to 10 was prime when I really wanted to watch Scooby-Doo, and it was really difficult to find it on the stations that we had available. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time it was very much you had to wait for a holiday when the satellite provider would give you a weekend of TNT for free. They would just unscramble it, and if you weren't subscribed, you could get it though for those 2 days over Easter or Christmas or something. And that was a lot of how I watched Scooby-Doo when I was a kid. I don't know when, but I was probably more than 10 before I finally saw any of the new Scooby-Doo Movies episodes. So I was already a little bit older, and I'll admit, I grew up watching TV Land when it was still good, where it actually showed classic television. I'm sorry, but 80s and 90s shows are not classic TV. Sorry. And the year 2000 is not vintage. Stop that, eBay sellers. That is something made in 2000.
Oh my gosh.
It's not vintage.
Hey, technically vintage is 30 years. We're getting close.
Oh,
We're
God.
getting close. I'm just saying.
Nikki, need to remove you from this call, Devin.
Yeah, honestly. Get me out of here.
I am not vintage, not yet.
Stuff, not people.
So I did watch a lot of those older shows. So when I watched this series, I mean, it's from the 70s. Those are the celebrities that they have on there. And I was pretty much aware of almost all of them. But I'm thinking about it now and I'm like, realistically, what kid that's like Scooby-Doo age was like watching Jonathan Winters stand-up comedy?
Yes.
I mean, I only knew who Jonathan Winters was, and like, I mean, honestly, guys, I do remember when I first saw his episode. What is that? Fricker Fracas Fricassee or something like that? Some weird name.
Fracas, yeah.
So the first time that I saw that, I was shocked because I'm like, what is Jonathan Winters doing being funny? Because the only thing that I knew him from was the Twilight Zone episode, A Game of Pool, where he is playing a very like serious role. Like there is nothing funny about it. And that was what I knew him from. So for me watching the Scooby episode, I was like, this is weird. I don't like this. This isn't Jonathan Winters. When, I mean, the Twilight Zone episode was the thing that was like out of his wheelhouse. So obviously we know kids were watching Batman when they were young and back in the 70s. But again, like Phyllis Diller, Dick Van Dyke, I just am not seeing these as like children's celebrities, which further leads me to believe that, yeah, they deliberately made this series targeting an older demographic. And it didn't work. Because the beauty of Scooby is that it's timeless and it's ageless. It's so perfect in its simplicity that you don't need to jazz it up with adult themes and content. The adults want to watch it the way that you made it for kids, the same as the kids do. Like it doesn't need any of that other stuff. It just doesn't suit it. And I think that that is uniquely Scooby-Doo, why it is still so popular today, because it doesn't need updating. Everybody keeps trying to update it and I'm like, just stop. It doesn't need it. You know, it's like, how many times are you going to try to redo the Twilight Zone? It doesn't work. Okay. If you made any of those Twilight Zone remakes and you just called it something else, they'd be fine. Like there's nothing wrong with them, but they're not Twilight Zone, and you're hurting yourself by trying to attach it to that name. Because you can't. That is iconic. It is its own thing. You will never replicate it. Like, just don't even try, you know? It's fine to say that you're in a similar genre to it, but you are not it. So like, do yourself a favor and like keep yourself apart from it. And I feel the same about Scooby. Like, you need to leave Scooby the way that he was originally designed, because that's just how he works. There doesn't have to be a reason for it. You know what I mean? It's magic. All of those things came together at that one point in time and they were just perfect and it worked. Don't mess around with it. Everyone knows I can't speak for everybody. I don't want an adult version of Scooby. I just don't. I'm not bothered by a lot of the ways that they tried to like make it a little bit more adult in this series, other than the fact that it made it kind of not as great to watch. It just wasn't that entertaining, because it was pretty clear that, yeah, it was for like older kids. And I'm still questioning how many even teenagers at that time would have known some of those celebrities enough to want to tune in to see them, you know? Although I will say this, and I don't want to go off on something that we're not talking about, but I think it's fair to say the new series, Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, is based on the new Scooby-Doo movies, where you have a celebrity guest. I'll be honest, guys, I don't know. That's why I haven't watched it, because like, I don't know 99% of these so-called celebrities that they're having on the show. I'm like, I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that is. I have no idea. Why would I watch it if I don't know who they are? So maybe it's like just a people like me thing, where I don't like a lot of stuff, so I don't bother branching out into different things. So I wouldn't know who they are no matter what. And maybe back then people were way more open to like watching everything. So they would be seeing all of these celebrities. I mean, I guess it's possible, but a lot of it still just seems kind of random. And I'm like, what exactly was your target demographic? Because I'm not positive what it was. I really don't know. It was kind of just all over the place.
And I agree with you on Guess Who. Like, I don't know who at least half of the people are that they chose to have on there. And then they opened with that basketball player, and that was the first episode. And I was like, why are we doing somebody that most people probably don't even know? They almost should have done Cher or Sandy Duncan for the first episode, so that it would have really tied it to the new Scooby-Doo movies.
That's a good point. And I mean, everybody knows who Cher is.
But here's the thing: as adults, obviously we know who Cher and things are. Like Jim Gaffigan and like Macklemore and like Axl Rose and stuff. Whatever. It's like sure, but like kids that are tuning into this, does a kid know who Axl Rose is or like Macklemore? Like, do they know who that even is at all?
Which
so
goes
it's
back
like
to like Wendy was saying, do kids know who did they know who Jonathan Winters was like back in the day? Like it's like they kept the same thing. Let's get a bunch of stars that nobody's gonna know who they are. And I bet part of it too is just some of the ones that are like real like famous, especially now, they probably just couldn't afford them. Like
I think that's
I read somewhere that they wanted to do an episode with Betty White like in the newer series, and it just didn't happen. But it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of like A-list celebrities like that who just either weren't interested or were out of budget or were busy with other projects. And so they're like, well, let's go to the B-list.
Betty White would have been amazing. I'm kind of sad that they didn't get her.
I know, that would have been so fun.
Yeah.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, and this is terrible, I'm not sure if it was Betty White. I might be mixing them up. It might have been Dolly Parton. It was one of the two. Either way, it would have been great.
Too. Yeah.
Either way. Yeah, Dolly Parton would be good. But isn't it interesting that Betty White could have been in like the first series of Scooby-Doo ever, and she would have still been like 50 years old?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of nuts, though.
Crazy, yeah.
That's wild.
So I did notice something else in this series, that Fred, Daphne, and Velma talked a little bit more about food than they normally do. So, or they ate food. But in Ghastly Ghost Town, Fred was drinking water, and then this is the one where they're in the desert and he says the inappropriate thing. But Fred drinks the water, and then both Fred and Daphne were talking about being thirsty. In Guess Who's Not Coming to Dinner, Daphne says she could use a midnight snack, and then Velma asks for a double-decker Swiss cheese and ham on rye, a tall glass of cold milk, and a big hot fudge sundae for dessert, which is totally not like Velma to even be thinking about food like that. In The Spooky Fog, Daphne said that they should have stopped at a hamburger stand. I guess the last one was like 50 miles ago and they were all hungry. In The Ghostly Creep from the Deep, Velma says they should make like a banana sundae and split, which again, you would expect that more from Shaggy than from Velma. In The Mystery of Haunted Island, Fred says he can hardly wait to get to the food in the picnic basket. Again, like they don't usually talk like that about food. And then The Spirited Spooked Sports Show, Daphne says the steam shovel could have scooped them up like a dip of ice cream. So they were more interested in food in this series than I remember them being in any other series. Usually we just see Scooby and Shaggy eating or making references to food. But this time we had several references from Fred, Daphne, and Velma. Leah, what are your thoughts on the gang being more interested in food?
I think part of it is we're just seeing the rest of the gang more. And part of that is, I can't remember, one of y'all mentioned it, that they were looking to make these like 40 minutes long. And so there's a lot of filler. So I think they're like, well, Fred has to say something here. Like, if you think about the original series, a lot of the highlight is Shaggy and Scooby. And of course, we hear from Fred, Daphne, and Velma. But now they're like, we got to like double this. And, you know, we've added the celebrity and adds some. But, oh, let's make the gang talk more about food. Like, I think they need for a way to fill the time. That or the three out with Shaggy and Scooby, they're rubbing off on them. And now they're always thinking about food, too.
Wendy, what are your thoughts?
I think obviously this can just be conjecture, and I do have to remember that we have 50 years of Scooby in our brains, and we have to like look at the fact that no, at this time there was literally 2 seasons and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do kind of just pondering out loud. We have said before on the panel, certain people have brought up like, wow, isn't it weird that the gang doesn't really eat? The gang doesn't really say a lot about food. It's always Scooby and Shaggy. And I mean, I wonder if maybe they noticed that back then. With, I mean, there's what, 41 episodes with the 2 first seasons of Where Are You? That's a decent amount of episodes. And it's very consistent that we don't really see a lot of food related things with the gang unless they're bribing Scooby and Shaggy with Scooby Snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps they noticed that and were like, gee, that's weird. Like, why don't we have the gang eating more? It doesn't make sense that they wouldn't be also having something or be hungry or something like that. I mean, honestly, that's the only thing I can really think is that maybe somebody noticed it back then and tried to remedy it. But again, it didn't really work because it took the shtick away from Scooby and Shaggy. So it wasn't as funny. And yeah, just didn't work as well.
Devin, what are your thoughts?
I guess after a couple seasons of a show, your characters start to get hungry. So, I mean, you know, you guys pretty much covered it, but I mean, I guess I'd like to think that since these ones are 40 minutes long and we're kind of seeing the gang talk about food, I'd like to think they were always eating, but you know, they just cut the other 20 minutes out of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And we just didn't get to see them eating the food. They were like, we got to scrap 20 whole minutes of them eating. And then they said, we'll throw it in for the new ones. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, there are clips of them like at the malt shop and stuff in the original series.
That's
It's
true.
just not as fun.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I thought were kind of weird. In the Frickert Fracas, Shaggy is surprised that they wrapped all the corn in the cornfield in green stuff. So he didn't realize apparently that corn had husks. And Scooby was just kind of looking at him like, what? What is wrong with you? Like, you didn't know that? So the dog knows that, but the human doesn't?
Right.
I mean,
Weird.
come on.
Weird.
And then it always grosses me out when they do weird things with food. Like in The Ghost of the Red Baron, they slice the salami with the plane propeller. And I just kept thinking about in the Scooby-Doo show how they use the ceiling fan to cut the pizzas. And both of those are disgusting, but the plane propeller is definitely grosser.
Yeah.
I mean, you got lots of dust on the ceiling fan, but there are bugs on the plane propeller, and that is gross. Really gross. Do you guys have anything else to say in general about the food in the episodes? Wendy?
I will just say that I do think that maybe aside from Scooby Snacks, can we all potentially agree that the second most epic food reference in all of Scooby-Doo is the cookies and bat milk in the Batman episode? I have to
I want to try those so bad.
that is the thing that will pop into my head randomly for no reason all of the time, and I'm just like, I wonder what was in those bat cookies and bat milk, and like what was it like? Even Shaggy was kind of like, bat milk, like I don't know, but you know, like, did you milk the bats, or what did you do?
I want to know.
Like I I don't want to see it, but I also kind of do. Like, because now I'm just imagining them like Batman. Well, I guess probably Alfred would do it, you know, like, and they have this like row of bats, and he's like, okay, turn right side up, and then he's just like milking the bats. I don't know. I mean, I have to admit, I have thought about this before and wondered, and I'm like, oh, you can't make that reference and not expect us to want to know. Like 30
Yeah.
years later, I still want to know, how did you get that bat milk?
Well, even Shaggy in the episode, he's like, bat milk, like, like
When you
know,
said
wondering.
when you said milking the bats, my mind went a totally different place, and I was picturing Batman doing it himself.
Milking himself?
Yeah.
Oh my.
And I hope that's not the case.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about adult content.
No, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I like your way better.
Oh.
Oh, we should have maybe looked up a recipe for the cookies. Maybe we could have tried them instead of one of these other disgusting delicacies.
There we go.
Yeah.
Devin, do you have anything else to say about the foods in general?
The only thing I guess I would say is that I feel like they just weren't as gross. There was a lot of references because there was more time in the episodes, but I feel like they weren't as gross sounding as usual. Maybe that's just me, but
It was a lot
Seems
of
like we
hot
saw-
dogs and hamburgers again.
Mhm.
Leah, do you have anything else to add about the foods in general?
It's not directly, well, it's about kind of about the foods. I don't know if y'all remember the episode with Mama Cass in it. I think the Candy Factory one. I always thought that one, like watching it as an adult, it was so strange because like the whole time she kept making fat jokes about herself, and I was like, this is so terrible. Like, especially if they wrote the script that way, and they're like, yeah, we want you to say these things about how fat you are. And it was like, and even I think the grapefruit that we're gonna eat comes from that episode, right? And
Yeah.
I was just like, that is so sad, especially like it has not aged well because she had a heart attack, I think just a few years after this, she appeared on the show. And everybody, like, the rumor was that she choked to death on a ham sandwich. I think I wasn't alive at the time, but that's what I've been told by my parents. And I'm like, this whole episode of her like making fat jokes just did not age well. And I was just like, it's so weird to see like them talking about like dieting and stuff in Scooby-Doo. I guess it goes back to the whole adult thing. I'm just like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just her making fat jokes. Shaggy was too.
That's right.
It
It's been a
was
lot
really
of
quite
episodes.
shocking to watch that episode because of the stuff that Shaggy was saying too. Yeah.
And you want to look at them like you're one to judge. You can eat everything and you're a beanpole. Like you can't
Yeah.
talk. Right? Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. that was what, 3 or 4 pages of the 18 pages of food for the whole series.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
That was a lot. So we're going to talk about Shaggy and Scooby's obsession with food. And some of the things that I wrote down were, again, Scooby was stealing food from Shaggy. It happened quite often. Again, for whatever reason, Shaggy just like puts food in front of Scooby and then he looks away. And you would think he would have learned that by now. You know, that's probably not a good idea. But no, he keeps doing it. And then in this series, I would say like 4 times, Scooby was shown in the gang's picnic basket eating all of their food. And at one point they're like, oh, I guess we need to put our food in a safe or put a padlock on it so Scooby doesn't eat it. And then they have an emergency ration of food. And it was a huge bag that they had in the back of the mystery machine that was full of cupcakes, apples, oranges, cans with a tomato on the label, sandwiches, and bread. And that was in The Weird Winds of Winona. And it was kind of crazy that they had this whole bag of emergency rations, but there were no Scooby snacks. Where were the Scooby snacks? Because if you're going to have emergency rations, you have to have Scooby snacks.
Scooby ate them out of the bag. That's what I want to know is how did an emergency bag like last longer than 10 minutes around those guys?
Yeah, it seemed like from the time they opened it, it probably did not last very long. But
Yeah.
but again, like cupcakes in a bag, they were iced cupcakes.
Yeah.
So how? I could see the apples and the oranges maybe, but depending on how old that bag is, that wouldn't work either.
Yeah.
So Leah, what are your thoughts on Scooby and Shaggy's obsession with food?
Well, I think it's definitely iconic. Like that's like the first thing you think of with Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. Like they're scared and they love to eat, and that's like every episode. And maybe that's what makes it relatable for people. Like, yeah, we don't like to eat nasty food like they do, but we all love to eat. I will say though, when you were talking about like packing the bag and like throwing cupcakes in there, I'm sitting there thinking, well, this is the same guy who thought they wrapped the individual like corn. So he just doesn't have that many brain cells at this point. But I've always loved food related bits. I mean, going back to Where Are You? I think one of my favorite Scooby-Doo bits is where Shaggy's eating that sandwich and then Scooby comes and eats it and he just leaves the olive. I think it's in Hassel in the Castle. Like, and then he's about to eat the olive and Scooby comes and eats that too. Like, it's just, you can't go wrong with the food gags. They're just so funny and they're so classic. And it's the kind of stuff that I'm like, yes, this is what I come to Scooby-Doo for.
Devin, what are your thoughts on Shaggy and Scooby's obsession with food?
Well, it's interesting because I didn't really think about this until you brought it up, Nikki, is I've always like when I picture like somebody eating food in Scooby-Doo, I'm usually picturing Shaggy. Am I alone in that? Or do you usually picture Shaggy? Because from what you said, I think we're learning that Scooby-Doo is the one that eats the most food actually, because Shaggy prepares the food. He's like the mastermind behind it. But then Scooby eats it all.
Yeah.
And that's that. But I do love it. I love them making food because like I get to live vicariously through them and pretend like I'm eating it too. I'm like, man, I wish that I had this big mess of food, like a whole table of it or some weird combinations, you know, and today's the day we get to actually try it. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Devin, I could see you making like huge sandwiches and like I could see
I
that.
don't know how they afford those. Just so much food on there. I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a good question or a good thing that you bring up. Where did they get the money for all of this food? I mean, I could see a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, couple slices of meat on 2 pieces of bread, but we're talking huge sandwiches that are almost as tall as they are. So yeah, where did the money come from?
Yeah.
Wendy, what are your thoughts on their obsession with food?
Yeah, I'm now wondering like who's financing this obsession with food? Because like deli meat's not cheap. And they eat a lot of it, you know. You even see like these fancy pictures from magazines or whatever, and it's like this really nice sandwich, and it's like that much meat on it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, that looks amazing, and I would absolutely eat that. But that's like $25-$30 worth of sandwich right there. Like realistically, who the hell is going to do that? Like nobody's going to do that. So honestly, yeah, where are they finding this? And how many times do we get to see the gang going to the grocery store? I feel like the only time that we get to see that is when like the grocery store, like it's like a corner store and it's like abandoned and they go in for something else and maybe they grab something. But yeah, clearly they have an issue with food. But at least the Lord bless them with metabolisms that they can do that. Because yes, I would also love a plate of giant sandwiches, but only if I get the metabolism to go with it so that I could actually eat it and not worry about like, you know, gaining 50 pounds. But I have to say the one thing in this series in particular, because obviously in Where Are You and then in the later series, we see Scooby stealing food all the time. That's not a rare occurrence. And yet for some reason, like this might be a strong way of putting it, but I can't really think of another word that is going to describe what I want to say. But I almost feel like in this series, Scooby is like mildly malicious about it. Like I actually found myself like getting a little bit angry at Scooby-Doo and being like, you are being a pig. Stop that. That was rude. Especially where he like pops out of the picnic basket and like everything's gone. And it's not even like he's never done that before, but there's just something about it in this series that bothered me. Because I just felt like he was deliberately not caring about anybody but himself. I don't know what is giving that vibe to me, but I have to admit, it really bothered me more than any other time that I've seen him stealing Shaggy's food. Maybe it's because he was stealing everybody's food, but I do feel like there are occurrences in the original series where he eats like essentially everybody's food.
Yeah.
Or there's even that one scene at the end of one of the episodes where he somehow manages to like drink everybody's malt, even though there's really no way. And they're like, how did Scooby do that? And I think Fred says like, well, I guess that's another mystery, and Scooby's laughing about it. But I don't know, for some reason, I just in this one, maybe it's because they did give off like a slightly more mature and adult vibe with the rest of the gang. Maybe I was subconsciously expecting Scooby to also be a little bit more like older, where he would just be a little bit more responsible about it. And he just kind of came off like a petulant child, like doing something that he knew he shouldn't have been doing. It wasn't nice to do it. And like he didn't get punished for it. They're just like, oh well, I guess that's the way it is. And it was actually making me a little bit angry. Like I kind of wanted to swat Scooby for the first time in my life. But I didn't like that feeling. I didn't. So I don't think I'll be rewatching this series again for a while, because I didn't like how that made me feel.
I had the same reaction. Like I felt really kind of bad for everybody, because here, they're in the middle of nowhere and Scooby just ate all their food. And it's like, Scooby, what are you doing? Like, it's one thing to take Shaggy's food, but now you've taken everybody's, Yeah. I had the same feeling of just, how could you,
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think it goes back to him being a dog, because we expect more out of him because he talks. He's clearly capable of thought, nation. But at the end of the day, he is still a dog. And I don't know about y'all, but I've had dogs. I had one in particular that he would steal food off the counters, like if you let him. And he wasn't that big, but he took loaves of bread off the counters and would chew through the plastic. One time he got, like, after dinner, he got like the whole like roast chicken that was like sitting in the container on the stove, and like just stole it off the stove and is sitting there chewing on it by himself. And I'm like, when y'all are talking about Scooby doing those things, I'm like, that is just something like a terrible dog would do. And you love them, but you're just like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're ruining it for everyone. We were going to eat that. And it's like, it goes back to being a dog. And it's interesting.
Give Scooby very human qualities. So yeah, I have a dog now who he's like a 60-pound dog. He will jump up on the counter and steal anything that he can reach. He'll open the garbage can if there's food in it, and he'll steal it. And he always takes it on the couch to eat it. It never fails. But yeah, I mean, I would expect that of my dog to do that, because he's a dog. He doesn't talk. But yeah, we do look at Scooby because they give him more human qualities. Like, Scooby, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing that. But yeah, you're right. He's a dog, and that is something that a dog would do. So we are going to talk about some disgusting things that we have eaten, besides anything that you're going to try tonight, because you haven't eaten it yet. Hopefully you haven't eaten it yet. If you have, I don't know what to say. For me, my mom used to make me eat liver when I was a kid, but she would tell me it was something different. And like, I never liked it, but growing up, I had to eat what was in front of me or I didn't eat. You know, there was no, oh, you don't want that? Well, let me make you something else. It was, no, that's what you're eating or you're starving.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So liver is gross and I won't touch it now, but yeah. I was forced to eat it as a child. Devin, what have you tried that's disgusting?
So I was thinking about this earlier, and the first thing that came to my mind. Okay, I'll start with the one that's not gross. I actually liked this, but it's just kind of weird. So I live in Wisconsin in the woods. We have campfires and bonfires like a lot. Like that's like half of what we do in the summertime. And we didn't have s'mores one day, and I was like, we've got some glazed donuts inside. I'm gonna go grab some donuts, put it on a stick, and roast it over the fire. And let me tell you, it was really good.
Sounds yummy.
It was really good. It was like nice and toasty, because you know when you get like a warm glazed donut, like, and it's super good, but like it was nice and like crispy. Oh, it was delicious. So that wasn't gross, but the gross thing, the first thing that came to my mind was in high school. It was like the day after like someone's birthday party, and we were at their house. And you know, like at a high school birthday party or wherever, younger, the parents or whoever usually gets like snacks. There's like chips and cookies, and there's gonna be cake and soda and maybe a pizza, whatever. Who knows? You know what I mean? So it's the next day, half of that food's gone. And we were looking, like, the parents weren't home, so we were just like fending for ourselves the next morning. It's like 11 a.m. and we're like looking for food, and all they had was a can of baked beans. And I was like, okay, well, I could eat the baked beans. I'm like, usually, you like to dip like some chips in there, like as a little scooper, like some potato chips with it.
Mhm.
They didn't have any chips. There was no chips left. But they did have Chips Ahoy cookies.
Oh no.
Oh
So-
my.
I took the Chips Ahoy, crunchy, by the way, not chewy. Those could be a different story. I don't know. I used the cookies as chips and ate the baked beans. And let me tell you, wasn't that bad. I ate a whole sleeve of cookies with baked beans that day.
Do you mean baked beans or like the refried, like the bean dip?
Baked beans, like I'm at a cookout and I'm having a hot dog, baked beans and like chips.
Wow.
Interesting.
Bush's baked beans.
I like to
Not
make baked bean sandwiches, which my husband thinks is weird, but my dad made sandwiches out of everything. So
Yeah.
I do the same thing, and baked beans on like bread or on a hot dog bun are so good. So good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't know about those cookies and baked beans though.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Like I said, I ate a whole sleeve of cookies with the baked beans, so like it must have been good that day.
Oh gosh.
Wendy, what about you? What's something gross that you've eaten?
Well, like you, I'm not adventurous. Okay. I've literally, guys, I have been eating the exact same Subway sandwich in exactly the same way, like since Subway opened. Okay. I
What
am
is
that
it?
person. It's a cold
What's your
cut
order?
combo with everything except for black olives and jalapenos, but I do like banana peppers with some mayo and some salt and pepper. And like that is literally, that's what I like. And
Okay.
I'm like, they're just like, everybody's like, oh, why don't you try something different? Like, why would I try something different? This sandwich is expensive. Okay. For one thing, it is ridiculously expensive. I know that I love this. This is like my favorite thing. Why am I wasting my time trying something different? Like, no, you experiment if you want, but I already found the thing that I love and I'm just going to stick to it. So I don't know that this is gross, unconventional, and I don't really know where I ever came up with doing this, but I did do it for quite some time, and it's been a long time since I've had it, but I definitely had cravings for it for quite some time. A piece of toast. Didn't need any butter though. Just toast the bread with sliced green olives and seasoned salt. What the heck? I don't know, because like typically for a long time I didn't like olives at all. I wouldn't eat olives. And then I got to the point where I was like, well, I like them on things like pizza or in certain dishes. I still don't like olives just on their own. Like I won't eat olives just like out of the jar. Like I find it's gross. And yet I was totally fine putting them with just like a little bit. It had to be seasoned salt though, like the orange stuff, which has extra things in it. Had to be seasoned salt on a piece of toast. And that was, wow. Craving for that. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why. The only other thing that I can think of that I at least haven't mentioned on panels before is one time I did accidentally eat a bunch of ants. And it was really gross. I don't know how old I was. I was just a kid, but we had this like low coffee table in the living room that it was long and low, and in the middle was like doors and you could put things inside. But then on the ends, it was like open underneath. So you could have like open shelving, but it was really low to the ground. And I guess I had like a can of pop the day before and there was a straw in it, and I had it sitting like on the underside, right, of the, like it wasn't on top of the table, it was on this little shelf below. And so I don't know, I'm in the living room the next day and like I go to clean it up and I was like, oh, there's still something in it. So I took a big swig out of the straw and got a mouthful of ants. And like a moron, I mean, spit it out. No, I swallowed it. It's like, what do I do? I'm also that person where you put something that is way too hot in your mouth and you think like, dummy, spit it out. If it's burning your mouth, what's it going to do to your throat? Spit it out. No, swallow it. If it's too hot for your mouth, I might as well just swallow it and burn everything. So, I mean, I'm not surprised because I'm still that moron that will do things like that. But yes, the mouthful of ants up my straw was not, I did not enjoy that. I did not appreciate that. It was disgusting. It was not. Contrast that to my best friend, who I'm totally going to throw under the bus right now because I love her so much. So why not? She will eat pretty much anything on a dare, and she will like dare herself just so she can do something gross. So we're in high school and we used to like to go out and sit on the bleachers around the track for lunch because we hated eating in the cafeteria. So it's like me and her and a bunch of our friends every day out on the bleachers. Summertime here, we have a lot of bugs. It just is what it is. And so we're sitting there having our lunch one day, and she catches this hideous looking black beetle that was about that long. And it was one of those ones that it's kind of flat and it's got like 3 segments, and it's like, it's very shapely, right? It's not like a fat bug. But it's one of those ones that has like the really hard shell. Like if you try to stomp it, I mean, you can't kill it. You pretty much have to like cut it in half with something because the shell is so hard. And so she catches this thing and it's still alive. It's not dead. Okay. It's alive. And I turned and I looked at her and she was like, I said, don't, please don't. She's like, you dare me to eat it? And I was like, no, and she threw that thing in her mouth so fast. And she chewed it all up really fast with her mouth open, and then opens her mouth and sticks in her tongue. And she has got like black beetle gunk and legs sticking out of her teeth and everything. And I was like, please spit it out. Spit it out. No, she swallowed it. She's like, nah, I ate it all. Ha ha ha. It's like, that is gross. I've seen her eat worms just for the hell of it. She ate a fly one time. So yeah, I live my gross eating vicariously through my friend, and that's good. That's hard enough for me to stomach. I don't need to do it myself.
Oh, that is all so awful.
Yeah.
So awful. My oldest son ate a termite, like just because he was in doing a summer camp, and where they were somebody told them that they could eat the termites off the tree.
Oh my God.
So he was with 10 people. 9 of the 10 people ate a termite. Like ate them, just took it off the tree and ate it alive. It was
wow.
No. Disgusting.
Okay, I've got 3 things really quick that all relate to things that Wendy said about food. I'll make them super fast. One, Subway sandwich. My wife, I don't know if this is gross, but her order is a meatball marinara sub with bacon on it and then sweet onion sauce.
Oh my God.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
you had me till the sweet onion sauce. And I like the sweet onion sauce because I get the sweet onion chicken sandwich. Like you, Wendy, I get the same thing every time. But
Let me tell you, it's not bad. I've gotten it a couple times myself.
Okay.
It's not that. It's pretty.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Two, one of my best friends, he moved to Arizona, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like the day he moved to Arizona. He was outside and he had like a can with a straw in it or like a soda or something like to-go cup, and he took a sip of it and it had a bee in it and it stung his throat and he had to
Oh,
go to the
no.
hospital. Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's like my biggest fear. Like that's so scary. Yeah.
Oh
So I
my
would hate
God.
for that to happen. And
Oh.
what was the other thing? Oh, my cousin. We both went to a summer camp. I went for like a long time, but one summer. Okay, so there was like very good desserts that you'd have for dinner at the summer camp were rare, and a lot of campers would like dare each other things or like trade things in order to get like a dessert from another camper, you know what I mean? And my cousin would eat just live grasshoppers for other kids' dessert at camp. I can't say I've done that. So I'm imagining it would be gross.
Oh my
that's,
gosh.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Leah, have you eaten anything disgusting?
I have, and it's funny because a lot of these, like when y'all would say your stories, I'm like, oh, I have to tell this one because it relates. So I know Nikki, you'd mentioned like the sandwich that like other people find weird with like the baked beans and stuff. For me, my weird sandwich, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I swear it's good, is radishes and butter. Like you chop up the radishes in slices, you put a bunch of butter, and you put pepper on it. So good. My mom grew up eating them. So, but my sister looks at me like I'm weird. She's like, and my husband too. He's like, "Are you eating that?" And I'm like, "Quiet, leave me alone with my sandwich." In terms of eating a bug, I have eaten a bug, which is probably the grossest thing I ever voluntarily ate. And it was because I was back in elementary school and we were at that age, and we were at a reptile show. And they had like, oh, you eat a bug and you get a prize. And there was like different tiers. Like you win this if you eat a bug in a lollipop versus a chocolate covered bug. But I wanted the t-shirt. And of course, to get the t-shirt, you had to eat the live cricket. So I just was like, eat the live cricket. And I still have the shirt because it's a grown-up.
Thank you. I was gonna ask.
I ate the cricket. The grossest thing I ever ate that I did not want to eat, like at all, and there's two, both of them from my grandmother, bless her heart, who I swear most of the time was a good cook. But one time she tried to make Greek dolmas, which those are fine, but first of all, you usually serve them cold. I think they're a little more pickled. My grandmother served them warm, made with grape leaves from like her own like grape bush in the backyard, which I'm pretty sure I'd seen her dog pee on like multiple times. And I'm like eating them. They were nasty. Like me and my sister to this day will still joke about it. The other one, also made by my grandmother, was chicken foot soup. And exactly, it's like I don't care again with just because I associate it with being sick, but I don't need to see feet floating around in my soup. Like that's just gross. And if that wasn't bad enough, not only did she make it, serve it to us, and that was, she pressure canned it. And when you can something, it puts pressure on it. And because the chicken feet are small, they broke apart. So you're like looking in this can because it's like a jar, and you're looking in it, and you just see like a toe bone floating around. And it's like, ugh. That's probably the grossest thing I've ever eaten that I didn't want to eat. And I don't think anything we're going to eat tonight is going to touch that because there's no toes in anything.
When my mom would make us like spaghetti sauce when I was little, my dad liked pig's feet in his sauce. So she would make a separate thing of sauce for him with pig's feet in it. And like, Oh, it was so gross. It was so, like they looked like feet. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so nasty. No. My dad also used to eat frog's legs. No.
Ooh,
No.
Mm-mm.
I don't get that either.
No.
Legs and feet aren't supposed to be eaten. I mean, maybe a
Yeah.
drumstick, but that's about it. Like, ugh.
Oh, yuck.
Before we do our taste test, does anybody have anything else that they want to bring up about the food from the new Scooby-Doo movies?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
Not the food, but I am curious if y'all have like favorite or least favorite episodes of the new Scooby-Doo movies.
The Davy Jones one is my favorite.
I can see that. That's a good one.
I like the Exterminator episode where they go to and I think his name was like Lauren Chumley in the episode was like I like that because I like I like Universal monsters and like the filming of movies and stuff like that. So I thought that episode was really interesting when they go to his house and it's like all like stuff like that. I always loved that one as a kid, so that's always my favorite. And that was the one with the least amount of food, surprisingly. Actually, it was like just popcorn, I think, for like a scene.
Yeah.
So.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite is the Addams Family Wednesday is Missing episode.
Love that one. And it makes me so mad that you can't find it on DVDs anywhere. Like,
Yes.
I used to play it on TV. I saw it growing up, and now you can't. It makes me so sad because, like, of all the guest stars, that's the one that makes the most sense with Scooby-Doo.
Agreed.
Yeah, completely.
For me, my favorites I think would be definitely the Addams Family one, and then growing up, I always liked the Weird Winds of Winona one because I just thought Speed Buggy, he was just so funny and cute. The one like as an adult that I've watched, my least favorite would probably be the Jonathan Winters one. Like the whole time, I was like, "Is it over yet? Is it over?"
Yeah, I can feel that. The Batman ones are also classics, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are really good too because it's like you're mixing the
like those
cartoon universes, so those are good.
I want to try that bat milk.
We'll have to look up a recipe and see if it exists. Somebody must have made it. I mean, we can't be the only people trying food from a cartoon. So.
We can't be, yeah.
Nah, no way.
This is so bad because now, Devin, you've
Sorry.
ruined this because now all I can think of is all of the guys who have played Batman and like Robert Pattinson is the new one. And now I'm not even going to say the words because it will sound so inappropriate, but wow. This is like, I can't even
You brought
say
up
anything.
the bat milk. I mean,
Oh gosh.
it's what came to me. I'm sorry.
Somebody's gonna draw a visual of that, Wendy. Someone will. And
You
then
will.
you'll never
You will and put it in the panel.
I want to see.
I don't know if I can draw that. I don't know. That's beyond my ability.
Oh, geez.
Like, can you imagine somebody milking the Christian Bale Batman? He's so angry and broody. And like, it's time for my milking.
Like, I mean, kinda.
Can you and should you are two different things.
That's true. That's true. The Batman costumes had nipples. In the Tim Burton ones.
Oh god.
All right. We'll try the bat milk next time.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so we are going to taste test our foods. And the first thing is either chocolate pizza, which was mentioned in the Ghastly Ghost Town, or pizza with sausage, pepperoni, chocolate sauce, vanilla ice cream, and I made anchovies optional. And that's from the Phantom of the Country Music Hall. The second thing we're going to try is a sandwich with peanut butter, jelly, some type of meat, and cheese. And optional is ketchup, mustard, pickle, mayo, and banana. That's from Guess Who's Not Coming to Dinner. And the third thing we're going to try is grapefruit covered in whipped cream, marshmallow, chocolate syrup, and a cherry. And that's from the Haunted Candy Factory. So this is going to be interesting.
I'm excited.
So if you guys need to get stuff ready, you can go do that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Yes, give me a minute.
all right. So none of this is going to be good. We are going to start with the pizza. Now I chose just pizza with chocolate sauce on it. What did you guys choose? Leah?
I have, and let me see if I can show it. I've got pizza and it's got like a little bit of vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce on it. And I just did a little piece so that I'm not wasting the whole pizza.
Devin?
I've got a pizza with sausage, pepperoni, anchovies, ice cream, and chocolate sauce on it. And
you and anchovies.
I went for the whole pizza.
Devin, oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I was trying to be as accurate as possible, so I made a full pizza. I was gonna do, okay, hold on. This is important. I printed off what everything looked like. Okay. I was trying to do this. Okay. I was trying to do that. I didn't have enough time. I was like, they're gonna be rushing me to get this ice cream on here, and it wasn't melting. I had to put it in the microwave partway. So I only got 3 scoops on there, but it's oh wow, it's really melted. I'm not gonna tilt that. Okay, and that's what I did.
I love it. Like, so attention to detail makes my microwave pizza.
Agreed. Props for Devin.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Wendy,
So
what did you do?
I did a 1 bite, and I'm gonna spill ice cream all over the place, but I did a tortilla crust, cheese, because it is pizza, and I feel like you need to have cheese on a pizza. So cheese, sausage, pepperoni, and then the ice cream on top.
I forgot to mention cheese. There is cheese on mine too.
All right. So here, this is what my piece of pizza looks like. I just spilled some chocolate syrup on there. And... So let's see how this is. I don't hate it.
I'm not feeling the ice cream.
No.
Like, it's not awful, but it's not like I kind of want to just like lick all the ice cream off and then eat the pizza part.
Yeah. It could be worse.
Yeah.
I was anticipating that one being really bad, but it's not too bad. And I think it's because if you think about it, you eat pizza and ice cream a lot together at birthday parties, but I definitely think I'm going to scrape off the ice cream.
Here's what I'll say. I like the ice cream with the pizza and the chocolate. What ruined it for me was the anchovies. Because let me tell you, I didn't want to get a bite without anchovies, so this thing is all anchovies underneath the ice cream.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh god.
And it is not good. Yeah, that's not it. Not terrible,
I
but
didn't bring a napkin.
I have some extras. I can send it to you.
Thank you.
I almost forgot napkins, and then I was like, "Girl, you got to bring napkins here. Make them
I
happen."
got ice cream all over my hand, and I really don't want to sit on camera and like lick all my fingers off.
I brought a wet towel just in case. I was prepared. That
All right,
wasn't
so-
very good. You're still eating it.
The chocolate
love
on
it.
the pizza is not bad. It's not bad.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminiscent of the cookies and the beans with the sweet and the weird, but the anchovies threw it off surprisingly. I'm kind of surprised. It was too fishy, I think, is all it was.
Oh.
Otherwise, I think I would have liked it without it.
So now you
But I
have an
can't get-
entire pizza with anchovies. Like, are you going to dig them all out so that you can eat it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like you
Alright.
need to preserve that pizza in resin for the rest of your life.
Right?
It's
Get
not-
pictures of it at the very least.
Mhm.
It's not looking too hot right now.
I can imagine once the ice cream melted, it probably,
Mhm.
it's probably pretty
It's not looking
gross.
Yeah. 7 out of 10.
Agreed. 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna try is the sandwich. Mine has peanut butter, jelly, a ham, and a pickle. Wendy, what's on your sandwich? Oh, and mine are skull shaped. So,
Cute. Okay. So I went with peanut butter, jelly, banana, cheese, and bologna.
Ooh.
Leah,
So I went with like the basic ingredients. So I've got peanut butter and jelly, and then because you see in the tall sandwiches a lot of time there's bread in the middle. So I did a piece of bread to kind of separate out the sweets from the savory, and so I did a cheese and salami.
Oh, that'll be good.
Devin.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone. I was so like wondering what kind of meat to put on it. So I also went with salami because I felt like that would go best with the peanut butter and jelly, which I did put on it. And then I went for Munster cheese because it's Scooby-Doo and it sounds like monster.
There
And
you go.
I also put a banana on top. And also I followed the exact instructions that Shaggy did in the show.
Oh my god.
I followed it. It's not as tall as his. Listen. His is this tall. Okay. His is that tall. I followed exactly step for step the order he put it on.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
I love it.
I was like, if I'm gonna make a sandwich from Scooby-Doo, it's time to go all in
There you go.
and
I
go
think-
for the big.
I think we all just need to like wait so we can watch Devin eat
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
I don't even know how I'm going to. I'm gonna have to like.
I was
bite
You
it.
know what to do. Just
What do you mean?
Scooby do it.
Squish it and rar.
Listen, I cheated a little bit. There's skewers in here to hold it together.
Hey, whatever works.
Just in case.
Oh
I don't even know.
All right.
All right.
Are
I
you
don't know how
guys
I'm-
ready to try this?
Fine, ready.
All right.
I just need to watch
I don't know
Devin.
what to do.
I can't do both at the Oh my gosh.
And they would smoosh it together, right? Like that's the vibe. They would smash
Mhm.
it down.
I
Yeah.
think
Okay,
that's
hold
the best way to do it.
Let me
Watch
take
the
out this-
skewers there, Devin. Watch the
Hold on.
skewers.
This is. All right. You know what? I'm gonna keep the skewers on there. Hold on. Oh man. Oh geez.
Oh my god. This is
Okay.
disgusting.
Okay, so I squished
Oh my
it down.
god. No.
Devin.
Hold on. I'm gonna get a bite of this full thing. I'm telling you. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Oh gosh.
it tastes like a lot of bread.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the extra bread helps because I felt like mine didn't taste that bad. Really all I could taste is the peanut butter and the bread.
It's not that bad. It's just. I taste a little bit of the banana from the top, but besides that, it's just bread and peanut butter.
It was the pickle and the peanut butter that I tasted on mine. And
Oh.
I didn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
taste the ham or the jelly, but the pickle and the peanut butter, yeah, that was just not gonna work.
Yeah, I'm not into the bologna on this. It's surprisingly
Not good.
potent. It's like it's not the worst thing I've ever had, but like I mean, I made it big enough thinking that I'm actually gonna like this, and like I don't know, I'm gonna eat it because I don't like wasting stuff. But yeah,
Oh my gosh, you're brave.
Sorry.
I'm like, nope.
5 out of 10 maybe.
Listen, I got the full bite.
Okay. Oh man.
You did.
I got the full bite.
I
I
love
got the whole
it.
sandwich. I made it. You know, I'm proud of that.
Oh,
Ah,
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Devin, I love that you're just going all out for this. Like,
Mhm.
I have to. I want the full experience. That was better than the pizza,
Mm.
honestly. But it also was just kind of tastes like bread, so I don't know what to give it.
yeah,
I can give it a fair
I
rating.
definitely think that the chocolate on the pizza was better than the sandwich. Now I did take the ham and the pickle off so that I can eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but yeah, the pickle and peanut butter are not good together. They're not.
No.
They don't go.
That sounds gross.
Nope.
All right, so now we have to try the grapefruit covered in whipped cream, marshmallow, chocolate syrup, and a cherry. I do not like grapefruit,
Me either.
so I don't know what to say, but this is not going to be fun. And the
there's like
marshmallows.
an 85% chance the grapefruit's gonna make me sick, but here we go.
Oh no.
Listen, mine looked like the picture. I promise, it looked like that originally, and I put too much toppings on. It spilt on the way in here a little bit, and now it's melting, and it looks like a mess. And so it just looks like that.
It still looks
I
good.
can't-
It looks a lot better
does
than
look
mine. Like,
good.
mine is all just kind of mashed together.
The same
You know what, it
mine
looks a little
Scooby
bit-
would eat it.
slices and they kind of got messed
Oh,
up.
that
so-
looks good. Yeah.
Looks good too.
All right. Here we go.
My marshmallow's hard as a rock now, though.
Oh my gosh, this is hard.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. No.
I forgot my cherries had stems.
Oh, that grapefruit is off. It was okay until I tasted the grapefruit.
I kind of like it.
Mm.
That's not bad.
I have mixed feelings about it because I usually don't mind grapefruit.
Mhm.
I will eat it, but what I usually do is I like
Try it.
peel off like the clear like skin, if you will, and I just eat the pulp part because the clear part's too bitter.
Mm.
But I just do that piece of slices and it's like really sweet, and then it's like the bitter and it's like. But I mean, it's not terrible. I'd rather eat this than starve, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it came down to this or starving, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I would eat, or at least I'd eat everything but the grapefruit. I'll
the
live on
grapefruit
whipped
is
cream and marshmallows and chocolate. I can do that.
I will say this is supposed to be a diet food. I don't think it's succeeding with
No.
marshmallows and the candied cherries. I'm like,
Yeah.
It was worse. The second bite was worse. I got more grapefruit in that bite. That was worse.
The grapefruit is like when you're cleaning the bathtub with bleach and you like lean over just a little bit too far and you get it like the fumes in your mouth. That is what the grapefruit tastes like. Okay. And my
Ugh.
grapefruit are all peeled and stuff. They don't have any membrane on them because I splurged for like a little jar of like eat on the go grapefruit. Yeah, no. I mean, forgive me for making this joke, but like no wonder Mama Cass died if she was eating this crap. Because like honestly.
Yeah.
The rest of it's good.
The rest of it's
Oh
all right,
yeah,
but
the chocolate, the marshmallows. Yeah, that part's good.
I was gonna say I might sit here and eat some of the whipped cream off.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
honestly.
finish my peanut butter and jelly.
That's horrid. People eat these things. Like, why? I think I'd rather eat dirt.
Yeah. Why are grapefruits disgusting? Why are
Like,
grapefruits so
that's
gross?
not really. I mean, maybe if you like piled some sugar or something on it, it would be a little more edible. But I don't know. Like
I
that
guess.
bitterness on the back end is like, bleh.
It's the bitterness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
not
got
good.
some weird one that likes grapefruit, but again, I think the sweet stuff with it makes it more bitter. You know what I mean? If you eat it
Yeah,
by
that's
itself,
true.
It's not as bad. It's more tangy, I would say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's definitely
Yeah.
an acquired.
One I have not acquired.
Well, I never need to eat any of that again. So that was fun.
Yep.
And I'm glad I know now.
Yep. I'm like, y'all are finishing them off. I'm like, y'all are brave. I'm like, nope. I mean, I'll probably give that because I cut off a little slice of the microwave pizza. I'll probably give the rest to my husband because it didn't like touch the ice cream.
No
or
one's
anything.
gonna want my food.
And I might eat the grapefruit, like that's not with the stuff, but I'm like, I'm not eating that pizza with the ice cream on it. I'm good.
Yeah. So the one good thing is that we have learned that yes, the things that Scooby and Shaggy come up with are disgusting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have guessed that without trying to eat them, though, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, all right, but Wendy did like the hot dog with the chocolate on it, which I thought was
Yeah.
totally gross. But
Mhm.
I bet I'd like that.
I don't think I'd like it. I think I'd be with you, Nikki. Like,
I want to try the corn on the cob, too.
No, you don't.
none
I
of
do.
us liked it, but you know, maybe you will. If you try it, at least send us a video of you trying it so that we can see.
that's brave.
Oh, just all by myself. I'm like, corn on the cob and chocolate. Yum.
Just sit there all alone one night. What's this like?
It was good. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It could have been worse.
Oh yeah, it definitely could have been worse.
Even worse.
I'm surprised, but I think the thing I liked the least out of all of it was the anchovies.
I'm
Yeah.
not
On the
surprised.
pizza.
Anchovies are an acquired taste. I've never even tried them because I'm like,
I've never tried them either. I didn't know. I was like, maybe they'll be good. Like, they weren't. So, I know now.
Wendy is really digging this sandwich.
I'm trying to get rid of that grapefruit taste.
I figured that's why I would need to take the stuff and just eat the peanut butter and jelly because I was going to need to get rid of the grapefruit taste.
I thought about going in for another bite of the sandwich, and then I just decided that's a no. That's a no for me.
I'm done. Y'all are brave. I'm sitting here drinking my water. Nope.
Maybe I'll eat a hard marshmallow.
A lot of ice cream and chocolate on things kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
But these
Surprised there
were
wasn't
the
any-
only disgusting things in this episode or in the series.
Yeah. And they're not
I
that
think-
disgusting because, like, separately on their own, they're absolutely fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like pizza and then ice cream with chocolate sauce. But then you put it together and you're like,
Right.
it's not the best, but it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever taste the liverwurst and ice cream sandwiches that they did? I think it's the Mummy episode. And Where Are You?
Al did that, but he did liver pate with ice cream, not
Gotcha.
liverwurst. Yeah.
I haven't had liver pate, but I have had liverwurst growing up. It's not bad, but it's a strong meat, and because it's like soft, I think a lot of people don't like it. I wouldn't eat it with ice cream though. No way.
Yeah. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap this up? Wendy?
Don't try this at home. Don't.
Yes. Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Listen, I would make another giant sandwich, but with ingredients that I like. You know what I mean? With ingredients that actually go together, I would for sure try to make a giant sandwich. I feel like that'd be fun,
Yeah, that's more
but
than
not with that combo.
Yeah.
Because this was like a half a loaf of bread. That's too much bread. That's too much bread.
Well, Nikki, I like we said earlier, the grapefruit was the worst thing to me. Like, it tops the corn on the cob for being like the worst
Really?
thing.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
Like that, I can't even, like, it looked so good. It looked, if they had
Yeah.
it packaged like so nice, and I'm like, okay, surely I'm overreacting. It's not as bad as I remember it. Like, it's gonna be so good. And so I piled it all up in there, like half the container, because I was like, well, if it's no good, it's not like I'm gonna eat it anyway, so I might as well make the presentation good. But yeah, like, I'm gonna flush this down the toilet. I'm not even putting it outside for my animals because I don't want them getting sick from it.
Listen, I'm never out here buying fruits like this. So I almost bought a cantaloupe on accident. I was like,
a lot better
I
though.
had
A
it in my hand,
cantaloupe
like,
would have been a lot better, and we never would have even known.
I
You
had
could
the
have been like,
cantaloupe
it's
in
a
my-
grapefruit.
I was like, this is not a grapefruit, right? I was like looking at it. I was like, I was like, this is way too big. I was like, a grapefruit's kind of like a weird orange, right? I was like, yeah, that's not it. I'm not a cantaloupe guy either.
Oh, I love
gosh.
cantaloupe. Love
The
cantaloupe.
cantaloupe, but I'm
Well, that's a
also
good question.
I
What
like
would you
grapefruit too, so.
what would you replace like the grapefruit with to make it better?
A brownie, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, like a fruit though. No, like a fruit.
Oh, a
Like
fruit.
like a fruit, not a obviously.
Maybe an apple. I would say I would go with an
Banana wouldn't be
apple.
bad. I feel like you
Yeah,
can make
I
it
feel like
good
you could do an apple.
Yeah. But cantaloupe might actually work. I might have to try that just because I like cantaloupe. So,
I was
but
gonna
yeah,
say
I think that could work.
Yeah.
Watermelon. No,
I don't know
no.
about watermelon now.
No, it's too liquidy.
Well,
I think.
But they make
Yeah.
like watermelon flavored like candy. It might work with it. No.
That's
It's
true,
just
but
the
it's
chocolate part.
watermelon. The candy.
Like I don't like I feel like the chocolate made the grapefruit taste even more bitter somehow.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
feel
It
like
was probably the sweetness of it
Watermelon.
brought out the bitterness of the grapefruit.
yeah.
What about an orange?
I feel like it would be
Mm.
almost as bad. Not as bad, but almost as bad. I feel like banana is your only real option.
Oh, banana,
Banana would be
yes.
good.
That's what I was thinking is a banana.
Yeah.
That's just that's a banana split at that point.
Exactly. That's
I
ice
didn't say anything about ice cream. It has whipped cream. It's different.
It's pretty
cream
close.
and whipped cream. You got to add it all. There you go.
The marshmallow was good with it. I mean, I like that. So
Yeah, the marshmallow was good, even though it was hard as a rock. It was fine.
Yeah, I bought marshmallows at the store last night because I didn't have any, so they're nice and soft. But they came in like a little packet, like this big, and I was gonna get the regular size one. And my husband's like, "You should get the little one because otherwise they're gonna sit there in our pantry and just like go bad." And
Yeah.
I guess he was right because all had hard marshmallows.
the marshmallow fluff worked out pretty good, honestly, because I could just like
Oh.
spread it on there easier. Like that worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
So
See, that would be good with peanut butter. Marshmallow peanut
Yeah.
butter fluff. Or
Mhm.
marshmallow fluff sandwich.
Yeah.
if you took different elements from each of these meals, they would work perfectly together. And
Yeah.
they'd be great. You know what I mean?
Like
Mhm.
banana and peanut butter sandwiches are good. And even if you add chocolate to it, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you
What do
start adding meat and pickles and no.
What are your thoughts on like a peanut butter and jelly pizza?
Like normal pizza with peanut butter and jelly on it?
Yeah.
Or do you mean like a cookie
Like
crust?
if I'm talking combining these meals, do you think that like a peanut butter and jelly pizza would work?
No.
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 You ever had peanut butter or jelly on a burger? That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh. No.
No.
That's pretty good.
I think we
That's pretty
found
good.
the real life Scooby-Doo and Shaggy here eating.
They have that at all kinds of restaurants around here. Is that not a normal thing by you guys?
No, they don't do that here.
Because
No.
I've traveled to Wisconsin. I've had family in Wisconsin, and I've never heard of peanut butter and jelly on a burger.
Okay,
Devin
well, I've never
goes to
had both of them.
underground restaurants.
I've never had both of them on a burger at the same time. I've had jelly on a burger and I've had peanut butter on a burger, but never
Okay,
both at once.
I could see a little bit of jelly on a burger as like a, because I mean
It's
I've
good.
had like a teriyaki burger with like a slice of pineapple on it, so I could see like jelly on there. I
good.
gotta say I can't picture the peanut butter, but that's just me.
The peanut butter, I've had it. They have it at a couple different restaurants I've been to. It gets old
Really?
after like 2 bites. It's
Mm.
like
Yeah.
you're like I just kind of want a regular burger now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that
Jelly?
would be my thing, is that I feel like if I want a hamburger, I want to taste the meat.
Yeah.
So like I used to be someone that was like, oh yeah, lots of toppings, blah blah blah. And then I realized I was like, okay, there's never been a Burger King in my town. The closest Burger King to me my entire life has been like 2 hours away. And so like I could count the number of times that I've been there. Now I love a Big Mac, all right, but I realized a few years ago, I was like, why am I messing around with toppings when the Whopper is the best hamburger that I've ever had with just onions, tomato, lettuce, and mayonnaise
You're
and a nice
crazy.
hamburger. And that now that has become like the only thing that's the only way that I will eat my hamburgers now is like that. So
I will try to make a big sandwich. I'll send you guys pictures.
Yay!
Of a good sandwich. A good sandwich.
So what
guess-
would you put on it that you would say would be good?
Well, now you're that's too much.
Oh.
I don't know. Obviously, some meats and some cheeses. Well, it depends too, because you could do like a pulled pork kind of sandwich that's really big. That would be pretty good.
Do you put coleslaw on pulled pork?
Oh my God, yes, it is so good. Coleslaw
It
on
is
there
good.
is super good. Or like potato salad. I don't even like potato
Mhm.
salad, but like potato salad on a pulled pork sandwich, also really good. I would do that as a
Yeah.
big sandwich.
Yeah.
So
I
I'd
like to
probably do
make
that.
potato salad sandwiches too. Pretty much anything I can put between bread or on a roll, like I do. Yeah.
I never thought about that potato. My mom made. I've had egg salad sandwiches, but I've never had potato salad sandwiches. I have to try
yeah,
that.
me too.
It's really good with pulled pork.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you should try it. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to think about it, but I'm gonna for sure again make a sandwich that's actually good this time. And I'm also gonna try the corn with the chocolate because I want to try that too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You guys will get pictures.
All right. Awesome. All right. We're going to wrap this up. But before we do, I want you guys to let everyone know where they can find you on social media. So Wendy, we'll start with you.
On Instagram, I'm at WENDY_BRYDGE. On Twitter and my blog, it's Wendy Loves Jesus.
Devin?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, at awesome__thanks. And on Etsy is where I sell most of my work. You can find me on there at Awesome Thanks Minis. But if you really want to see what I do or chat with me about Scooby-Doo or gross food or whatever, definitely Instagram is the place to go. So
Leah?
You can find me on Instagram at my Scooby Space. My main project right now on there is I'm working on putting together my Scooby-Doo room. Once it's done, I plan to do a big reveal of that. You can kind of see a little corner here. So follow me if you're interested in seeing that.
And you can find all my links on ScoobyAddicts.com. Don't try this at home, but if you do, send us pictures.
Yes, please.
please.
And thanks for joining us for another Scooby panel. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A very special thank you to miniature artist Devin Smith, LEAH Jenkins from My Scooby Space, and artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy BRYDGE. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's website, onescottshop.com. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms, or as a web series on YouTube. If you would like to support the Scooby Panel, please go to patreon.com/ScoobyAddicts. Scooby Addicts artwork by Will Davenport. Video editing by Nikki Blake. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for another Scooby Panel.